Well noted, Osido. and we've seen how the political class has taken the remarks by the Inspector General of Police, some questioning whether the service is truly apolitical. What do you make of the remarks? Should he withdraw? And does a backstop with him resigning? Because we definitely had calls of resignation just over the weekend as some of those who were killed during the protest were laid to rest. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jesse. I believe that the Inspector General of Police of the Republic of Kenya is a very well celebrated officer, in the sense that he's been able to rise the ranks. He has done so many good things to be able to validate his experience, his knowledge around whether the service is a service or is a force. And I'm sure that he understands where Kenyans are coming from to be able to name the police service as a service and not a force. In my view, with the background that has been set by Gabriel and what we know about the Mandamanos, and particularly what we know about getting bodies out of a morgue and having them buried, the Inspector General of Police owes Kenyans an apology. And in fact, if it were in other jurisdictions, he would have been called not just to resign, but he would have volunteered himself to resign, because death is a very painful thing. And for us to be able to see bodies, both by the people who are bereaved, by the people who are there, some indeed even through the media, live shootings that took place, whether by the police service officers or by the militia that Gabriel is talking about, or by whoever gangs that were there, those bodies were dead live, like live dead, because we saw some of those bodies lying there. Some of them we saw on social media, people demonstrating and crying over people whom they started the demonstrations with, and they were shot dead while demonstrating. Okay. So it would be quite unfortunate for us, therefore, to believe the Inspector General of Police on the background of who he is. In fact, he also sits at the National Security Advisory Council. Okay. With all the information that he has. I don't think it would be right for him to say that one political party or an individual from a political party hired bodies for burial or whatever purpose it was. But if that is the case, is he able to substantiate with the evidence in terms of his jurisdictions based on the intelligence that is generated from the National Intelligence Service, bordering on the obvious that also people, because even for families, you will not just go and pick a body and bury. If it is a police case, you must walk into a police station, register an OB, and then authenticate all these issues. So I don't think that the Inspector General of Police has done Kenyans better service in terms of his remarks. I think, in fact, I believe they were quite unfortunate based on who he is in this republic and based on the kind of information and knowledge, information that Kenyans expect and require from him, based on the knowledge of everything that he is aware about in this country. And I would agree with the morticians that if there are any colleagues of the mortician industry or the sector that are hiring bodies, then they also need to be called out. And if it is true that the IG is aware about intel from such kind of institutions or individuals within that institution, let them come out and validate the bodies which they hired out. And if possible, I think the IG needs to do as much more better by also proving by evidence that yes, it would not be right for us to imagine that the bodies that we saw either being buried or being carried into morgues were hired. So I think that it was an unfortunate statement. The IG owes us not just an apology, but most likely a resignation.
So Wakili, as you come in, we know